The Softears Twlight, Legendary Edition. Let's talk about it. Now, the Legendary series is a series for IEMs to try to breed longevity with them. This is an IEM that's been out for about 2.5 to 3 years, so it's been out for quite a while. Many people call it the greatest single dynamic driver IEM of all time. Is it? Maybe. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to go over it. We're going to review it. We're going to look at it. I've actually even reviewed this IEM, and I've included that review done about 8 months ago, a while ago. 8 months ago feels like an eternity ago, and I thought you guys might want to see how maybe production quality have changed or maybe how opinions have changed. I'm a firm believer that your opinions can change on IEMs as things grow and as you listen to more gear. Let's look at the build quality of this IEM and then go from there. Fit on the Softears Twlight is a little bit of a deal breaker for some. It has kind of an interesting feel and look to it. It almost has like a box with a slight, kind of a circular shape around it. It's not bad for me, but it's unique and special. You can kind of look at it there. The included accessories are exceptional. Softears does a great job with accessories, including tips, an adapter, little IEM booties, and the lot. The cable is nice. It's a recessed 2-pin cable connector with a little right hook around it for red. I mean, this is a nice cable. It's not especially exciting. A little Softears Y-split. There's no chin slider on this IEM, but it is supple. It feels nice. You have a 4.4 connector. And it's just overall a nice IEM cable, but nothing too fancy. This has a nice IEM case. I like the look and feel of it. It has nice texture. It's nothing super exciting, but you'll notice it's a nice looking little putt case. There you go. Twist your ears. I love it. This is included in the packaging. The Softears Twlight. How does it sound? It's celebrated as a warm musical sound with smooth, cohesive presentation. I like it because it's rich and has full-bodied bass, but it's also a little bit lacking in the sub-bass. The treble is unfatiguing. It's nice against like all kinds of genres. This makes this a very unique performer, and this is a very competent one-and-done style set with absolutely fantastic mid-range. It has great build quality, it has great comfort and fit for me, but not everybody is going to feel the same way. $1,000 IEM is a lot to take in for a lot of people, and I think that's to be had. So value is something I don't like talking too much about, but I do feel overall the presentation in this is good. The weakness of this set is that the bass doesn't seem to feel as controlled, in that it doesn't have a lot of sub bass. It doesn't have a lot of that technicalities. What it has is almost this rich, organic presentation. And if the fit can work for you, this could be a really fantastic set, a really amazing set, and does a lot of great things. Let's look at some graphs, and then we'll go from there. Okay, part of the point of the Legendary series is to reference 3 reviews talking about this IEM that have been positive. First of all, we have Tone Deaf Month, which I know this is one of his favorite IEMs, and I know he just got rid of it. It's been something that he talks about and is a benchmark for his that he's highlighted in many of his reviews. The second one is ATEC Reviews. This is one that he's talked about as well. He says a lot of positive things, talking about warm sound done right, and it is a fantastic set. And then we have HBB, which is the best dynamic driver you can buy, period. So this is a solid set, and there's your references. Feel free to check out those videos of these guys. All right, so the graph, you'll notice that it has a nice amount of warmth through here. We're going to look at a few other graphs. And again, I am including my review I did a few months ago about this. And this kind of gives us a chance to kind of revisit this IEM to determine whether it is actually noteworthy or it's just something that's kind of fallen along the wayside of so many IEMs have done. And again, nice FR, lacks a little bit of sub bass, has a little bit of warmth here. If we normalize this at say 500, you kind of notice some things. You can actually normalize at 800, and some people like to, but that kind of gives you a good idea of where the bass shelf rise starts. You can tell that it starts a little bit late, which is not a bad thing, but it is a different tuning that is not going to be for everyone. Let's compare this to a few other IEMs in its roster, like something like the Softears RSV. Like the RSV is something that I probably would recommend maybe a little bit more depending on what you want. They have different characteristics, but the Softears RSV is also exceptional. Another IEM to consider in their lineup. I mean, just a different tonality, a little bit of different energy here, a little bit less V, a little bit more sub bass. I kind of like the RSV more, but I think it kind of depends on what you want and need. Another one to talk about is the Softears Studio 4. I love the Studio 4. The fit and isolation on it are a little bit of a challenge for me, but I think it's a fantastic set with a little bit more bass, a little bit less warmth, a little bit cleaner mids. I mean, a little bit less 4 to 6K energy. It just means a nice, clean presentation that I think is absolutely amazing. The volume is another one. We did this review here it's kind of funny. I'm recording this in the future, so I'm actually releasing the volume tonight. But what I will say is that the volume has a little bit more bass. It's a lot cheaper. This Softears does a lot of things well, but they have a lot of similar signatures at different prices. So you kind of have to ask yourself what you need in your collection for multiple reasons. And to me, the differences between these are significant, but a lot of it comes down to preference and what you want. To me, I personally think the Twlight is a better set, but it's always hard with these. Like, you listen to them, you A/B them, and it's hard to notice a lot of differences, but the volume has a beautiful presentation that's extremely noteworthy, and I'm excited to see what you guys think of that as well. Another one that's come out is the Volume S. Now, this is in the default configuration, and I think the Volume S is one of the better sets that I've heard in a long time. Has great fit, has great comfort. It's a little bit more standard shelled, and it has different tonalities and tones. I myself am sensitive a little bit to the 6K region, which I think gets rid of things and makes certain things sound a little bit better to my ears, and I really like the Volume S, and I think it's absolutely exceptional for what it is. There are other IEMs I wanted to point out and talk about single dynamic drivers. Now, comparing the Twlight to the Dita Mecha, the Twlight has a different approach to upper mids, a lot more standard and traditional, where the Mecha can come across a little bit shouty, but it's a very unique, almost an old school presentation with a lot more sub bass. Like, if we normalize this at say 500, you'll notice how much more bass and sub bass that has. Like at right around 200, it just pops off with the bass. But it also has a lot of treble, and so that presentation may or may not be for you. I mean, the Dita Mecha is like 850, has a beautiful titanium shell. So to me, a lot of things come down to, will this be comfortable for you in your ear, and what kind of sound signature do you want? And for me, I think the Twlight is a lot more agreeable of a set, but the Mecha is a lot of fun, and the Mecha has an amazing shell, and it's just something to note. Another thing to think about is the Tantrum origin. Now, we did a review on this recently and talked about it, and it did not become a legendary IEM on my list, but it is a very noteworthy IEM whether you want it or not. Look how similar those curves are. This IEM is also, it's like $260, but you can probably get it on sale or used for maybe, $220, $200. And it's an all metal shell and a little bit more traditional of a fit. I don't know. It's hard to say. I kind of like the twinklies and the sparklies and the origin more, but the Twlight just has an organic richness and just kind of like a thick note weight to it that's really agreeable too. There's also a legend going around. I don't know who started this legend, but someone tried to tell me the other day that the Moondrop Land is actually just a Twlight driver in there. I don't know. I've listened to the Land. I want to like the Land, and I don't hate it, but I don't feel it's the same driver as the Twlight. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's part of the implementation. But I think it's not just about drivers, but about implementation. But I do want to note that and show you how close these two graphs truly are. And the Moondrop Land is a $30 set, while the Softears Twlight is a $930 set. The Softears Twlight, is it legendary? I don't know. That's for you guys to decide in the poll. But for me, I think it is a very, very solid set. I really like the Softears Twlight. I think it's special. I think it's unique. But the fit and the comfort on it are a little bit unique. They're really not something that I absolutely love. But I do love the sound, and I think it is a majestic, lovely IM that I think everybody should experience sometime. Thanks for watching. I am including my old video at the end if you guys want to check it out. If not, you can call it there and vote in the poll. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye for now. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Oh, you're expecting a teaser for our next video. Well, we don't have that kind of money. What are you expecting? One of those store reviewers to show up in a saucy little leather number? Go. Oh, I can tell you one thing. We are going to have a collab video. We have no idea what it's going to be. Probably Kryn, maybe Chris. Or Joyce. Don't deny it. She's got range. Go. Get out of here. Go.
Go!
Go.
Go on with you!
The Softears Twlight. Let's talk about it. This is a loan sent for me from a friend from Hi-Fi Guides. I sincerely appreciate any people that send me loans. I've had a few people, not even just reviewers, send me stuff, and I just want to say it's just really awesome to be able to experience expensive, nice IEMs that I normally wouldn't be able to buy. It's it's kind of tough, so it's much appreciated, and thank you to everyone who's willing to send me stuff. This is a single dynamic driver IEM that costs $930. It is a very interesting product. It came out about a year and a half ago, right around November 2022. Again, it's a very interesting product, and it's a very nice IEM. Let's talk about the build quality of this IEM. This is a very interesting IEM. Like, looking at it, it's kind of weird. I haven't really seen an IEM like this, but it's tiny. It kind of has this nice little groove box shape to it. Its nozzle is small and it fits in my ear very well. It just has a nice, simple fit. It's metallic. It has strong build quality. and I like it a lot. Again, it's not something I normally would be like, oh yeah, this looks great and it's comfortable, but in ear, it's absolutely fantastic. These grooves that I'm kind of pointing out, like these, they're really smooth and simple and silky. It just fits in ear well. It looks well. It has strong build quality, and again, the shells. It does have that recessed 2-pin connector, which can be problematic for switching. But overall, this is just really strong. The cable has a unique feature. It has its own little 4.4 to 3.5 connector that comes with it and matches the IEM, and it looks beautiful. And so that's a nice little feature. It is a nice silky black cable. It just looks good. I like the little red hook here so you can tell what is right and left. I mean, it's not a fancy cable. It's nothing too amazing, but it sits well. It looks good. I mean, it has a nice little pretty Y split, and it terminates in a 4.4 for those people that need it. And just overall, I think this is a fantastic cable. And you can see here, it lays flat. Let's try it here. Ta-da! It's just really nice. I love this cable. High quality product, and it's a unique feature. This is a funny IEM. Just looking at this IEM, I would be like, or the graph of this IEM, I would say, oh yeah, I'm going to hate this. But I always try to listen to stuff before I evaluate. I always try to take a moment and really listen. And this IEM is just absolutely phenomenal. It has a lot of great qualities. It's like one of my favorite IEMs, and I was floored by looking at the graph as to how it sits in ear and just how it feels. It's just phenomenal, and I love it. Let's start by talking about some of the graphs, but overall its characteristic is rich, beautiful, crispy upper mids, great resolution, great sound stage. The imaging and placement of the instruments around your head is just absolutely world class. So let's look at some graphs. All right, the Softears Twlight. Let's look at this graph, and it is a very nice graph. It looks good, but it does lack a lot of bass compared to what I normally would want. It does kind of have this gentle rise through the lower mids. And so, when I looked at this graph originally, I thought, I don't know about it. But I wanted to compare this to a few other IEMs, and I was just absolutely flabbergasted at this IEM, and I think it's really strong and a lot of fun. Let's look at another IEM from the same company, the Softears RSV. Now, I reviewed this on channel before, and I really like this IEM. To me, I kind of think I might want to recommend the Softears RSV just because it has a little bit better bass. It has a little bit more gradual approach to mids, but there is something about those dynamic drivers. It is a fantastic experience, and I would highly suggest you guys to try both of these. The Twlight does have kind of a unique fit. It is a little bit chunkier, and so it's not exactly perfect, but it's definitely interesting. Another one I want to compare this to is something like the Noir. I think the Noir is a lot more of a balanced sound. I think the Twlight is like this amazing, fantastical set. It's punchy, it's beautiful, it's unique, but it kind of has this, this almost tube-like crazy experience where the Elysian Effect, Elysian Acoustic Lab is just polite. It's like a gentleman butler who just gives you the music in an appropriate way. You're like, okay, I have no problem with that. Whereas the Twlight, it's just fun. It's just engaging. The upper mids and air and the stuff off the graph, off the Twlight are just exceptional. It just has really great things about that IEM, and it's a really fun experience that I fully recommend. Another one I kind of want to recommend this to is like something like maybe the Cadenza. I wasn't a huge fan of the Cadenza, but for some reason, like looking at these graphs, and it kind of has this aria style, gentle approach to upper mids, and I wouldn't think I would like it, but again, this Twlight, man, there's something about it. It blew me away, and I absolutely adore it. Like, I thought the Cadenza was just kind of polite and boring, but I think the Twlight is just kind of, it's amazing. It's fun. It's unique. It's special. It's something that I think you guys should definitely throw on your demo list. It's definitely, spoiler alert, it's definitely an A-class material IEM. It's a unique experience, and I love it a great deal. I mean, you look at it versus other IEMs, like something like the Aurora. I think they kind of had a similar base level, you know, maybe a little bit. Let's normalize this at a better, more clear point. Like, these pretty much have the same base, but the Twlight has that just way less shouty, way less peaky upper mids. It's just smoother. I think it's just by far a better IEM. And the Twlight, to me, despite having that bass, it is just so fantastic. Another one I want to kind of compare this to is it reminds me quite a bit of the Monarch. I think they kind of trade blows. I think the Monarch probably would get my recommendation, but the Monarch falls into that reign of almost slightly boring, not super engaging, but a solid set nonetheless. So as far as the Softears Twlight goes, I think it's just a fantastic sounding set. I think the tuning of it is just a little bit wonky for my taste, and that's kind of what it kind of took the biggest hit on. I like this IEM, but it's expensive. If someone offered me a Twlight, or I found one in a couple years for like $300 to $400, I would definitely buy it. Like, if you ever have the chance to demo the Softears Twlight, it is a special set, and I can't really talk about it so much. There's something about those DD IEMs that are just so fantastic. It's so enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. It just doesn't quite have the bass notes for me going on. I know you guys have given me some crap lately about being a bass head, and I guess maybe I am. But I mean, also the mids are like the most important part of a set in some ways. And the Twlight has some of the best mids I've ever had, and it's just so satisfying. Such a good set, such a unique fit, and a beautiful, amazing IEM. You know, this IEM is so unique. It's so special. It's like this cubicle little cutie IEM with this beautiful cable and with a great fit. It has a lot of great things going on for it, but for me, I prefer an IEM with just a little bit more bass. I feel like strings can come across harsh and kind of overly lush. If you EQ this IEM, it sounds amazing, but you can say that about a lot of IEMs. Like my favorite song, Kill Joe. Well, it just sounds like it lacks bite and snap. It feels a little bit too airy and too sweet, and it doesn't really feel great. Cymbals come across very sharp and shiny. Vocals are extremely fun and extremely strong, but they do feel like they lack that bite, that crunch, that really what I would want in an IEM. It's a special set. It's a really good IEM, but you know, that bass shelf not being there makes it something that, like, for me, I would recommend a demo. But for people that like don't really need a huge bass shelf, like I know some reviewers and some people that are kind of like, ooh, you know, bass isn't for me. This could be one of the greatest IEMs I've ever heard as far as vocals go. I can't tell you how much I love this IEM. But again, it's, you know, $930. It's blown me away, but at the same time, it's expensive. But again, if you could find this IEM for maybe a cheaper cost or cheaper price, or you're not super sensitive like I am about bass, this is a fantastic set. I really dig it, and I encourage you guys to check it out sometime. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?